Alright, so this is the brackets for the engine from Power by the Hour. Let me just take out all the brackets. To be honest, I don't know what's what, but we're gonna figure it out. Tensioner. Belts. Another tensioner or pulley. And then that's my pedal bracket. And the throttle body spacer. So we're gonna try and install all of these brackets and pulleys, all that stuff. Gonna try and get it installed. Like I said, we don't know what we're doing yet. We got instructions, but it seems pretty simple. We're gonna have to cut this, shave this down flat, shave this flat, and I think we're gonna have to like cut a little bit here. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, it's gonna look something like that. As you can see, the areas I was pointing at, they're shaved, and then the bracket, you see there's another spot right there where I told you. Let's see, blah blah blah, and then it's for the bracket, and the bracket, I'm trying to find the picture where the bracket goes there. It's pretty much going to be for the alternator. The area that I was pointing at, it's for the alternator bracket, and that's pretty much how it's going to sit. We're going to put the alternator and the bracket's going to sit on top, and this is going to be where the AC goes, and then my power steering will be on this side with its own bracket. So yeah, I got some cutting to do. Shouldn't take that long. If it takes a whole day, then it takes a whole day. I'm not in a rush, but the goal for today is gonna be to sit all the brackets and tensioners, all that stuff on the timing cover so we can get that out of the way, and then worry about putting the transmission behind the motor, and then once that's together we can roll it under the car and put the K-member, put the transmission mount, and then get rock and rolling with the rest of the build. But yeah, let's go ahead and start cutting the stuff down. Alright, so real quick update. Had to trim a little bit right here. I don't know if you guys can tell. So right there, I had to cut this. And obviously you guys saw us grind these down. So we pretty much mounted up the alternator bracket and it was hitting right here. So in the instructions it says to cut it, so that's what we did. And then we put the brackets for the alternator right here. So there's 1, 2, and then there's one right here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put the bracket back on and see if it hits. So now we're gonna be putting the AC compressor. But before that, we had trouble mounting the alternator because we were trying to use the F-150 alternator. So if you ever do this, do not use the F-150. There's clearance issues. So we went to the store and got one for the 5.0 and it fit way better. It wasn't even aligned. Like the pulley for the alternator wasn't aligning with the tensioner. Well, I mean with the pulley. So once we switched it, it aligned and everything was good. Now we're doing the AC compressor, and there's just gonna be 2 brackets. There's one that's gonna go right there, and then that one's gonna go up there, just like it shows on here. Bracket on the bottom, and then the other one goes on top, and then the AC compressor. Just 1, 2, 3 bolts. So we're gonna put that on. Alright, so now we're gonna put the AC compressor. As you guys can see, it's new. We just traded the old one for this new one because of the warranty. And then right here we have these little guides that came with the new compressor, so we just went ahead and put them in here. One here, and then one right there. So now we're just gonna literally put the AC compressor right there with the screws, and it should stay in place. Okay, so we had to take off the bracket because if you look right there, it's grinded right there, and I tried to do it up here. You can't see it, but the reason for it is because when the screws were through, it was rubbing on the block, and we didn't like it. So we just, since we're here already, we went ahead and grinded off the corners, which is no big deal. So that's why we had to take it off. Okay, so I already put the compressor. Now we need to put the power steering pump. We already put the bracket on, so all that's left to do is put the power steering pump. We're gonna, I think it's only 3 screws, or it could be 4. Yeah, it's 4. So let's go ahead and put it on. Got a brand new pump right here, and then the last tensioner and the belts. That's all that's left to put on. Alright, so the power steering pump is on, and now I just need to put this tensioner that goes right here, and then put the belts on. It was pretty easy putting the power steering on. It's just this one, and then there's 2 more down here. One here, and the other one is down here. But yeah, just four bolts, and that's it. Looks good. So we got power steering, alternator, AC compressor, tensioner over here, and we need this tensioner right here. Alright, so now I'm gonna put on the belt. It's gonna be for the alternator and the AC compressor. So I'm gonna have to take off the bracket for the alternator, because when I mounted it, I knew I was gonna have to take it off because the belt's not gonna fit through here. So I have to take this off, put the belt, and then the bracket. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I still got both the belts on, the one on this side and then the one on this side. It's hard to see because of the sun, but they're on there. Now the front timing cover is complete. Okay, so everything was on, but I had to take off the AC compressor because right in there, it was there was like a little rib right here protecting the screw, and it was hitting this bracket, and the AC compressor couldn't go all the way in, so I had to grind it so it could stay good. And another thing was that we were test fitting the headers, and they were hitting on the studs right here, so I cut it down. This one, you see these first two, and then this one right here, and this is what they should look like. But as you can see, I cut it right here. As you can see, I cut them. That way the header sits all the way to the block with no problem hitting the header. So that's pretty much it. As far as the timing cover and the headers, the passenger side header fit good, nothing was wrong with it. So, oh, and another thing, right here on the motor mount, these are 4.6 motor mounts. So I'm just gonna reuse them because they're fairly new, and the header was actually hitting right here, so I had to grind all of this down to get some good clearance. So that's pretty much it though. The other side, like I said, is good. It doesn't hit. It's only the driver's side. I mean the passenger side. Only the passenger side. The driver's side is good. So I had to grind this. Had to cut a couple of studs, and then grind the little rib that was behind the AC compressor, and that's it. So just grind here, grind the 4.6 motor mount, and then just cut a couple of studs, and that's it.